Hello and welcome to the Boise State Esports Arena as we get into a special broadcast of some Valorant, going to be followed up by some Super Smash Bros. Today, we're going to start off with the Boise State Blue team facing off against William and Mary in Valorant to continue into the ECAC conference. Now, through this conference, if Boise State Blue is able to win this game, they will guarantee their chance to get into the playoffs. Now, we're going to be joining the game already into the match. We have going to be in the second map with Boise State taking the first map. Calling all the action, my name is Audrey Norris, followed by Sebastian Leeper, to check out this awesome team and this awesome matchup.
Yeah, game one was pretty interesting. Sadly, we didn't catch it quite yet, but Boise State managed, they went down quite a bit early on, the first 4 rounds, I believe, and then honestly just showed a lot of determination to get their momentum back and won, like, I believe it was 6 or 7 rounds in a row and stole the game from there.
Yeah, I believe the score was around 12-6 by the end, so overall it'll be a very fun matchup to see if Boise State is able to kind of take what they learned from this first game and prevent the momentum swing, or if William and Mary will be able to pull it off again and deny Boise State from being able to gain that momentum. Now, we will be going on to one of the more difficult maps in the game, known as Haven, just by the nature of every other map having 2 sites, while Haven only has the benefit of 3, creating a more interesting puzzle for the defense. Now, yesterday when we were in the PEC Valorant, we did see quite a bit of shenanigans going throughout the Haven map, as, you know, just with all the different ways that you can go in and out through garage, through the sewers, and just straight down B. There's a lot of variety and a lot of challenges for the defense to have to overcome.
Yeah, and the key point, even though there are 3 sites, the biggest one that's the most interesting to me at least, is how teams try to utilize B, because it is a very hard site to keep hold of when you're on the offense, but it's quite easy to entry in most of the time. So I want to see, for the defenders, it's also quite good for rotates. So I just want to see how they play around that mid area, the window, and garage, and see how both teams manage and control that section of the map.
Yeah, I mean, in Valorant, as usual, you know, map control, location, and timing is really important. But Haven is just one of those maps that does have that innate extra challenge involved for both opponents. I mean, as I was talking about yesterday's match for the Boise State Valorant varsity team, there was quite a few times where we saw entry through the B site, and more often than not, it's just the idea is to go in as quick and fast as possible, but there were so many times it was easy for defense to shut it down just because they have great angles and really good safety entering into the site, and if you're not watching those angles, it's so devastating, which is, you know, one of the most important things to do in Valorant.
Yeah, those angles, especially, I mean, whether on offense or defense, just being willing to watch an angle or deal with surrounding angles is obviously a key part of both offense and defensive strategy. And I want to see how Boise State Blue, what their strategy is on offense for taking sites, actually. How do they position themselves, for example, on C? Are they going to stay more in C, or are they going to go back to spawn and spray from there?
Yeah, and I think that'll be very dependent on what heroes they choose to pick, and as well as the comp that we end up seeing from both sides, because that will be a big determiner of how everyone chooses to enter into the map. After all, you know, the characters really do make the game, and although there are some preferences and some mix-ups that you can do, at the end of the day, you know, whatever you end up choosing for your loadout in your team is going to really change how you choose to enter a map. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, you know, Haven is a big place for like characters like ISO and Neon.
Yeah, speaking of ISO, yeah. Sorry. Williams Mary actually represents ISO in every single one of their maps from what I've seen. So we're probably going to see him.
Yeah, ISO is an interesting character. I for one, thoroughly enjoy all of his abilities because I just think he's a really interesting character, but also just Kill Contract itself is a very cool ultimate, and we might be able to get a little bit of a taste of what that looks like as we go ahead and jump into the match. Just a reminder, this is map 2 so far, so we are currently at Boise State up 1, William and Mary trying to come back and prevent Boise State from taking it all in this map.
As we start on Haven, pistol round, obviously the most important round, sets the precedence for Eco. And I believe we're going to see sides for both teams upcoming.
Yeah, as we're determining who's going to be playing what. Another thing that I'd be curious to see while we're getting into the map is just how, speaking of eco, people choose to play. Something, you know, that everyone will have to determine on Haven is whether or not they want to buy up or save for those precious larger guns, like a good old operator. And surprisingly, yesterday, an Odin.
Oh, let's go.
Which, you know, interesting choice on a lot of maps. You know, this isn't one that you would normally see on Haven, but ended up working out in a couple scenarios. So, you know,
I believe there's a spot on B. Pardon me if this is wrong, where you can interact with A tunnels, A short from B with a wallbang. So Odin might have been shown there. We have the agents quite now. Neon is something I like to see from Boise State.
Yeah,
Very high tempo character.
Yeah, jumping into the match, we've already seeing some action in the middle site here as William and Mary is moving up towards the seaside using Garage as their entrance point. Moving up, the first encounter goes in. Ian taking out 2 players. Loaf and Sova are down.
Yeah, the paranoia there, beautiful. Just free 2 players for Boise State, and they just are a stronghold here on C. Pistol strategy is basically nothing right now for Williams and Mary.
They will have to be careful, though, taking a lot of damage in that last firefight. As we rotate around to B, Boise State fairly aware of where they are, does the jump peek and is able to see him. Now jumping into another firefight, Royals takes down the Cypher, and Yoru is there, but it's not a fake out, and he's going to go down. Though now the only hope for William and Mary is this Yoru, who doesn't even have the spike, unfortunately for him. So he's not really going to be able to do a lot here as he's taken out.
Yeah, there's no way, unless you're like the best player on planet Earth to win from that position. Yoru was in.
Yeah, realistically, all he wanted to do is try and make it harder for Boise State, eco-wise, if they could take out more players, but they weren't really able to accomplish that there. And so, with that, Boise State is able to take the first round here.
And with the first round comes the gun advantage, as we see Boise State buying quite a lot. I doubt Williams and Mary are going to commit to any.
All they really have to do is save at this point, because they want to be able to gain the advantage in the next round.
We do see a Sheriff by ISO that could be a huge determiner, depending on his aim, but it is an uphill battle for Williams and Mary no matter what.
Yeah, moving into the map, not wanting to move as quickly up into the middle area, taking a bit of a slower turn, checking both C long and the Garage. Omen moving in. Question is, will he see the Neon, who is hiding around the corner? Moves in, not able to keep up with the shotgun there.
Yeah, Fyra.
Ian and BSU taking down 2 players, ISO and Omen out. However, Freya not able to take another one. Goes down to Yoru.
Yeah, Fyra has given a judge to Yoru. This could be a key determiner for Williams Mary, but it is still 2-4, so they have to find out how to use it the best.
Boise State not near C long right now, giving them the opportunity to move up near the point. However, Tripwire blocking their way, as well as Ian taking a look, able to see immediately that their players are there. Knows exactly where they are. Boise State going to rotate. Cypher Cage going down to give them some extra room, but
the Deagle, wow.
Able to take them out from the distance. Ian is down, but Yoru and Sova follow suit, and with that, Boise State is able to take the second round.
Yeah, beautiful from Boise State. Pretty expected overall with their gun advantage. They did end up losing a couple of players there to a couple of scrambles, so they might be in a weird bonus round here where they have smaller guns, some of them don't even have a primary, versus the Vandals and Phantoms of Williams and Mary.
Yeah, with this could be a chance for William and Mary to take that momentum that they want, as, you know, bonus rounds, that's fairly common. Now jumping into it, we see them moving a little bit to the other side here. Potentially assessing as Freya gonna move right up.
Not aware.
Ooh, gets hit by the tripwire, and with that, Loaf is able to take them out. Now down a player, Boise State rotating away from C, feeling like they might be moving somewhere else. Going ahead and checking down that sight line.
This player disadvantage very brutal for Boise State. They can now represent a very thin playstyle, William and Mary, and just figure out which site Boise State does not have fully covered. Default working out well so far, but the smoke is denying ISO the site of C.
William and Mary taking a much slower approach this time around. while trying to determine where best to go. Looking like they want to move towards A. Recon Bolt is going to go off.
And a showdown.
Oh,
Nice.
wow. Great aim there from Ian, taking out Sova immediately. Omen backing him up. Yoru is now down, and with that, William and Mary is down to 3 players. Bronco holding on to the rest of theirs. Firefight continues. Ian taking down 2 more players while ultimately getting a trade. Cypher Cage goes up for the opposing Cypher as he moves back and retreat with the spike, getting a rotate to another side.
Net worth it for Boise State. They do lose access to the spike, which they had a little bit there, but the smokes are covering it up anyways. Great commit.
Question here is, does Boise State realize that he is beginning the plant on another site? They are now, as they're able to tell that he is on the other side. Moving forwards and through the spawn area, they now have to try and decide what the best route is to be able to take this back.
An easy mistake a lot of players make here is splitting up, one going flank, one going spawn. I love that Boise State is representing to play together, play for those trades. Can they do it quick enough to deal with William and Mary spike?
Cypher Cage did go up. They know exactly where he is, but the Recon Bolt is going to give Boise State some information as well. Moving up towards the spike. Jim is there with Breach backing up Sova. They are able to get the defuse.
Trading points here, no big worry. 2 full seconds off. Yeah, as I mentioned, them playing together is just what makes that play there. Sova can bait the spike while Breach peaks, and even if Breach loses, Cypher doesn't have enough time to move while the Sova gets a second peak for a trade.
Yeah, and with that, we can see that the eco is honestly stabilizing a little bit for both teams, though William and Mary does and ultimately hurt quite a bit, not getting full shields and not really getting a full buy either, though fairly close. Boise State much more comfortable now with their eco, especially after saving a little bit.
Yeah, those light shields are interesting because the only thing from Boise State that really punishes them is the Phantom, unless some shenanigans with body shots occur. So not the worst situation, but if they lose this round,
Camera taken out. Destroyed.
William and Mary moving up, committing a little bit more here, but the kill contract does go out from William and Mary. Did it end up hitting anyone? Ian is down. Yoru moves up, takes out Sova, but Neon is able to avenge them here, taking out 2 players before being taken down themselves. Omen is now the last member of Boise State's team here, having to contest 3 players if possible. KOS doesn't really have a lot of room to work with here.
Yeah, no paranoia. They all know where he is.
Contingency. Let's see, yep. And with that, Loaf able to get the headshot onto KOS, and William Mary is able to take their first round.
That is very crucial for William and Mary. This gives them the economic backbone they needed. Now if they lose this round, it isn't the end of the world. Obviously playing to lose isn't the right decision, but they have a little bit of a safety net.
Yeah, and if anything, the big thing is cutting off momentum, as with any of these rounds, considering you have to get to 13 points to win unless you get to overtime. The biggest issue is always going to be just the stamina battle, and letting your opponent take too many rounds in a row will be quite a challenge going forward.
Fyra does secure the ult point. They needed that for the Neon ult here to keep their money upcoming. We will have to see how Fyra uses that, because it is on a timer.
Yeah. Overdrive will be a very useful tool whenever they choose to activate it. William and Mary looking down sewers right now, and A-Long deciding where they might want to go. Royals throwing out an owl drone, about to see, wonder who's there, as 2 owl drones collide there. Both teams are now aware of the presence of each other.
That's actually
honestly, that was kind of one of my favorite things right there. It was like, oh, look at that. They're going to just bonk into each other.
Give each other a smooch right before deciding what the rest of the game plan is. Both teams have perfect information, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they know exactly where each other is, and now the question will be, is William and Mary going to commit to A side here? Which it looks like they are, moving up immediately. You're going to activate Dimensional Drift, gain some information with them moving up, taking down 4 members of Boise State. Boise State down to just Cypher as the plant begins. Wow, the speed in which they moved there, I was barely able to see what happened.
Yeah, it was like Paranoia plus Omen Smoke plus Yoru Blind, just fully overwhelmed both on the analyst desk here and for the players on Boise State Blue.
Cypher Cage creating some extra space for William and Mary. Ian not really wanting to contest the point at this moment. After all, really, you're not going to be able to beat the 4-on-1, so better to save, maybe get an early pick, but for the most part, back off while you can.
Yeah. Just chill, go back to your home of wires right here.
A nice little Cypher cage space. Yeah, William and Mary looking to potentially get a knockout here as they back off.
Valorant turning into a survivor horror. Can Ian stay alive?
You know, I think that's pretty much the best way to describe what it is like when you are the last member of your team trying to save your gun.
Yeah, William and Mary actually on to where Ian was, but the wallbangs just weren't strong enough to do any damage.
Yeah, luckily for Boise State, they are able to save one weapon, but that's still a lot of a hit to their eco that they did not want, and we can already, once again, see that just showing up in the weaponry as two members of Boise State have elected to save.
Yeah, Fyra having the deagle still, or actually choosing a Bucky, or whatever they choose.
Might be looking more for an overdrive here with a Sheriff and a full shield.
Yeah.
Would not be surprised to see that.
The problem is...
Oh!
No.
Looks like no overdrive for Boise State here. Yoru taking them out immediately. And with that undercut, giving vulnerability to Reach, he now has to back off or risk being taken out, but KOS going to back him up here, taking out two players with his Sheriff.
With this limited time Arcane Sheriff, I believe that was from the 2021 edition. Beautiful work from KOS. Still has to commit to staying on the deagle.
Yeah, I mean, hey, as with anything, the Sheriff is that headshot weapon where the name of the game is hit the head and you will win. And if you are able to get the headshot there, you will succeed.
Yep. This is a longer angle, though. The fall-off range could occur for KOS to get that 145 damage. Nothing ends up happening so far as KOS is being pressured off of the site. Beautiful one-way, actually.
Breach taking down Cypher.
Paranoia from KOS angle.
Contingency giving some more room to William and Mary here.
As we get a nice view of the site real quick.
Now we can see right now kind of a standoff in garage. William and Mary not able to get through as Boise State is able to just hold down these angles here. Going for a rotate, Sova moving towards B. Ian backing off here.
Beautiful awareness from Ian.
10 seconds
the time
left.
is running out, and that is when B is your best bet. Williams and Mary knows this, but they are out of time to fully plant. Can ISO find these kills or even just survive? Finds Ian. And dies. Full round. I mean, the round was over anyways, but he did manage to get a kill on the way out.
And with that, a quick timeout to just kind of reassess here for both teams.
Yeah.
Right now, Boise State up by 2. If they can continue this momentum, they will have a fairly just strong lead throughout the entire map.
Yeah. I do agree with William and Mary playing a decent amount faster these last couple of rounds. It's definitely shown, especially that one execute to get their first round on A site. It seems like Boise State is playing a lot more defensive, giving a lot more space, so that is the beauty of those types of executes. Can Boise State stay on top of?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is that while you're in the first round, you really want to try and not let the difference in rounds become too deadly for your team. And right now, Boise State is able to keep that, but going into a different setup, especially right now, we've talked about it. Luckily, it won't be a big difference, but with both teams using Cypher, their most comfortable spot for a lot of cases is going to be on defense, just because although Cypher is really good on offense, his biggest abilities of stalling come out when he's actually on the defensive, able to gain that information, use his camera as well as Cypher cages to just create and control sightlines. And so while you have the defense advantage here that Boise State has, then it's a good thing to try and keep.
Speaking of defensive advantage, the operator is typically better on defense, and Fyra has gotten himself one because he's been ecoing with overdrive, and he just died.
Wow.
Unfortunate.
This is a couple times that Fyra has just not been able to prosper here down sewers. Sova taking them out rather quickly. Now Boise State down an op and a player.
Yeah, Fyra still has overdrive, so the op buy wasn't the worst situation for him, even though he's died. But
though Boise State will most certainly want to recover that if they can.
Yeah, they don't want to just give a free op for fun, obviously. This execute.
Looking a look around the corner to see what there might be.
We're generating some pressure.
Sure, not really seeing anything. Going to throw fake out onto site. As Shwar takes out Royals. Royals now down. Boise State down 2 players, but KOS once again really just wanting to avenge these fallen players here, taking out 2 more players before being taken out himself.
KOS on the C side is ridiculous. First the 2 Deagle kills on his own, now 2 Vandal kills. But honestly, I am so impressed on how Yoru played this round so far. He forced the A players to stay there for so much longer than they rather would have, and made KOS die after that situation on C. William and Mary kind of forced to go into this B situation.
Oh, but the Rolling Thunder is going to force them off the point immediately. Shwar down. Boise State Blue able to move in. Now all they have to do is just find one of these players here. Comes around the angle, but isn't able to catch him off guard. Boise State down to 1 player. Is now up to Ian to get the defuse and catch them off guard. Goes for the fake defuse, tries to catch the Sova, but with the shock bolt and just the unfortunate weird angle in this B site, not able to really do much. I mean, when we look at this site, it is a very weirdly shaped site, and so it becomes very hard to like safely defuse, which is why if you can successfully execute onto it and get good angles for the post plant, it can be a real pain to deal with.
Yeah, William and Mary Sova SHK there was actually representing something we were talking about for defender-sided section of that point, which is that Sova was on one angle to Cypher's left, and the other Cypher was contesting main, so he had to deal with 2 very sharp angles, and that spelled doom for Boise State. Will this play from Williams?
Wow.
A classic pick early on.
Oh,
Overdrive.
Overdrive going out, as well as kill contract on William Mary's side, but Boise State ended up being the winner. Overdrive going out, able to take out a player, though not able to capitalize on a second kill here. Now 4-2, Boise State in the lead numbers-wise, but be careful here as they don't really have a lot of information on where the rest of the players are.
Yeah, that Overdrive finally coming into play. We've been mentioning it a couple times.
The Odin coming through for Royals here, taking out Omen. Not to mistake with Odin. Trapwire triggered. William and Mary having an idea where Boise State might be, as they have gotten another successful plant onto B site.
This time, though, defenders do have their advantage. So many pincer points here as they're just being trapped.
Boise State having to execute onto B site, much like how an attack team would, but they're getting a successful defuse so far as Boise State is able to get onto the site, get the defenses up, and just push through to take out the rest of the players, now taking the point and denying what looked like could have been a very solid win for William and Mary.
Yeah. They'd get the plant down. The awkward situation, I mean, that's just the key point of B every time, is if you don't have anyone in defender spawn dealing with those players, they just got pincered so hard, forced near C and Garage, and just picked off one by one at that point. Speaking of C and Garage, we do see them posturing near there a little bit. They do have worse guns, so I agree with a small rush here. Can they get the momentum back with this rush?
Whoa, KOS taken out immediately by Yoru on Boise State. Now down that faithful defender on C site. Ian rotating around the site a little bit, just trying to find a better angle. Owl Drone moving up. Does not see him.
Stealth mission from Ian. No way.
Whoa! Takes out Sova. Sova none the wiser to his position, able to take him out. And now Boise State evening up the numbers here and having control of the spike, taking down Yoru. Boise State has line of sight on spike and now forcing
last player standing.
Wow, look at that. 2 players taken down, trying to go through the spike using smoke for defense, but nothing is going to work. Boise State knows exactly where they are. Royals taken down, and with Breach using some util, able to take down the Cypher as well.
I believe that was Breach Afterburn, Breach E, I forgot the name, pardon me, and Neon Concuss all in one. That was... No matter how good of an aimer you are, sometimes in Valorant, you will get out-utiled, and that is what we just saw.
No, I mean, that not only that, but they kind of made the mistake of thinking that having a smoke would protect them as well. You know, whenever you try to line that up and go, oh, if I can hide in the smoke, if I can use that as cover, that'll give me a better chance to actually guess it. But since Boise State knew exactly where the spike was, all they had to do was make a bet and kind of just take a couple shots, and well, with that they were able to knock people out before they even knew it. With that dimensional drift going out once again, William and Mary able to get a better idea of where players are, now knowing that Ian was the only one on the site, using a neural theft to now get the location of Boise State.
Spike planted.
They are able to get the spike planted relatively quickly into the match here.
Yeah, and this is just ridiculous for William and Mary. Those Yo rolls have been providing so much entry value, and now Boise State has to retake with a couple awkward omens to do so. They found the omen though.
Ooh.
And yes.
Speedy taking down Neon. Taking down KOS here.
Oh, KOS.
But Breach doing a little bit of a sneaky move, able to take out 2 players, but Boise State is out-angled. And with that, another round goes to William and Mary.
Yeah, KOS there, he did blind them, and we did just mention smokes are not walls, they are not pure defense. And the same there with that flash, he got spammed down while he was still, or while the opponents were still flashbanged. Managed to find 2, but dying there is a done deal.
All right, jumping into the next match here. I like the loadout of Boise State here. 1 operator and 1 Odin.
The double O. Can we find a 7 here for Boise State's round count with these 2 guns?
Watching that sight line, Neon has a really good spot
Scanning ahead.
click. Just instantly takes someone out of the game, though Ian taking out Loaf. And now looks like Freya able to finally get the op shot they want, takes them out. Rolling Thunder going down into middle as the plant begins. Boise State trying to halt their progress, is not able to immediately, but is able to take down some players. Omen taking down Schwartz, Shook taking down Freya, and Royals now taking out Shook. At this point, William and Mary down to 1 player. Omen trying to teleport away and just stall it out as much as he can with the paranoia, but Boise State having the numbers is able to push up, and now it's a one-on-one as the defuse goes through.
I love that. Oh wow, Omen finding the final kill with his classic. I love that Kayagi used his literal entire util kit on that Omen there. That round was so important to finish off, and that's what happened. Even though they did end up all dying, the use of util was just enough time for Boise State to get the defuse.
Yeah, unfortunately, losing all of their players, though, is going to cost them a lot in the eco with what they were buying in the previous round, and we can see that right now.
Yeah, this is a funny round. Both teams not having full loadouts for all of their players. Some of them have some, and some of them have an Outlaw and an Odin on the same team. Let's see if this works out for Boise State.
The Outlaw is a pretty nasty weapon, though. If it is able to see someone, it's pretty deadly as well, but I don't believe William and Mary had many light shields, so it'll be a little less threatening. Still dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, just click heads.
Yep, that's the goal. William and Mary moving up through A long here. In the corner, Freya is taken out. Angle was checked, which is always a good thing to see. Unless you're Boise State here, now down a member. Rotating over to try and protect A site.
Yeah, they are down, but they did get the information that William and Mary is on site.
However, Schwar is able to take out 2 players, well, a player, actually, yeah, 2 players with Kayagi also being taken out. Now Boise State down to just Ian as the plant goes through.
No matter how much information you have.
And with that, Ian is able to take down 1 player so far, not able to take down the other.
A little bit of banter in the chat. Royals saying reported. I wonder what caused that, to be honest. We didn't get to see Royals POV that time around. As we move on to the buy phase of the other half, we did mention that Cypher is most comfortable on defense, and I want to see how William and Mary maneuvers around using their own Cypher.
Yeah, continuing with the 2-round lead into the swap, Boise State still fairly comfortable with where they are. And that's going to be a very good boon for them going forward. Being able to lead into the swap is always a good thing. So the real question will be how this first pistol round goes, because it will be a big determiner of how this match will continue.
Yeah, Boise State is calling the shots on tempo now. They get to play a lot more comfortable. William and Mary was getting a lot of rounds due to their executes, but it's not their turn to try that playstyle anymore, as Boise State is representing a march towards B.
Boise State beginning the execute onto B site, using the smoke for some cover. Muchum is able to see Ian, takes him out, but Sova backs him up. And now 2 down on Boise State as they begin the planting. William and Mary losing Shuar to Freya here. Boise State moving out immediately once the spike is planted to really guard that one side. What they don't know about is the Omen on the other side. Boise State, Loaf taking out KOS, getting that double tap, just getting, wow, double tap, getting 2 double tap, 3 double tap. It's still up, and with that, able to get the defuse. That I think that was just a great showcase of how double tap works right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very effective early on into a half as well, as we just saw, because the bullets for these classics and semi-auto weapons are so much more important than those of a Vandal at most times. And
well,
that's why.
It's something we don't often get to see, is just how exactly it works with the fact that, like, when you take out someone, an orb will drop, and then when you shoot the orb, you get the refresh on the ability. But there we saw 3 times, one after the other. That is quite a double tap indeed, as William and Mary looks to try and close in and maybe create a tie.
Yeah. Let's see how Boise State represents their eco rounds. Because while eco rounds are disadvantageous, they should not be forfeited instantly. And I love the aggression from Neon. That is the point of the character, as she's already stolen B.
With that, creating space on B, Royals is taken out by Speedy, though, as the plant begins. Now Boise State has to watch both sides as they move out. 3 players immediately taken out as soon as they try to exit the area, with Shuar beginning the defuse.
Yeah,
Wow.
ecoing is not legal in the premises of an outlaw. And William and Mary's outlaw, just a slaughterhouse on the B site.
And something I noticed too as well was just, we were talking about the angles for defense right there. When Boise State tried to move out to create space and try and take out more players for William and Mary, they just were in a really bad sightline for them and were just taken out instantly.
Yeah.
That is like one of the things with B. I always wonder, like, if the best strategy is to move to the defender's positions or to try to move a little bit back into your attacker side, since you just have more comfortable, like, you have more room to work with unless the entirety of defense is trying to rotate around.
Yeah. Personally, I believe going into attacker side is the better option sometimes, but they had classics, so they had to be close up. Now they do not, though, so the wider angles are going to be represented here from the defense, which I think Boise State is more used to at this point.
Yeah. William and Mary holding down A side here, with ISO kind of lurking far up into window, really hiding up there. My goodness.
Yeah.
He is looking for an early pick, and Cypher might be his prey if he is not careful while moving up here.
Take flight.
A beautiful micro rotate from Cypher, actually, but a duel is destined to happen both on the minimap and on site.
Going out, Boise State taking out 3 players on A site, with KOS taking out Mutuum, Freya taking out players. Now it is Omen all on his own up top to try and stop this plant.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, you're just like chilling there. He can
barely move right now.
Yeah.
Like they know relatively where he is. So at this point, he wants to retreat. But like, how do you retreat from this? This is a very scary spot when a lot of people know where he is.
You gotta hold your ground, try and maybe find a pick. I love the utilization of a smoke and the teleport coming in. The jump scare, you even got jump scared.
I was not, I was expecting him to jump because I was like, he's going to try and get a pick.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting him to jump straight onto the box there.
William and Mary kind of big brain there, actually. I don't know if you saw fully the use of Speedy K9's Omen util. They made a smoke and then fake teleported to make the noise of a teleport and then jumped down. Sadly, it didn't give them anything, but
it did give them a chance to also figure out, well, if anything, it did give them something. It let them know where players were, which is why he knew that someone was on the box and tried to jump and surprise them. Just was not able to align where he needed to go, and jumping right into it. Overdrive is active as William and Mary moves in to try and take it down, and with that, the overdrive does not last long. However, it has created space for the Broncos as they move up into A site.
Yeah. Even though Fyra is long gone, that overdrive is working over time here as Boise State got so much advantage. Even from Fyra dying, just the space. Look at this. Williams and Mary has to retake on such a difficult site to do so.
In addition to that, I did see a neural theft go out. So Boise State has a good idea of where William and Mary is, just using that, able to take out Speedy K9, and knowing that they're coming through the small hallway here. With that fake out, Royals is down, and now, well, Royals is able to take down 2 players, and with the operator up top, though Omen is taken out, it's just 1 player left for William and Mary.
And off on a retake with like 5 seconds left. He's
good luck. And with that, all teams ready to retreat and avoid a potential knockout from the spike.
If I'm not wrong, I believe William and Mary's eco might be going down the drain quite soon. I think they have an operator and a dream upcoming.
Considering how it's been going, and a timeout to just give themselves a little bit of extra space. At this point, you know, while we've been watching, although Boise State has been staying the consistent lead, it's been interesting to notice that they really have only been able to keep that by 2 points so far.
Yeah, that shows just how even the set has been. Even though Boise State has been on top for most of it so far, especially this game too. That does not mean William and Mary is not putting up a fight. They have been representing so many cool and interesting playstyle adaptations. But will they make enough to get into Game 3?
William and Mary is not out of it yet, but Boise State is putting a great showing in right now to continue to just hold down the line and take this map. And so the big thing is just going to be whether or not William and Mary can cut off this momentum that they were able to keep for a while in Game 1, but seems to be kind of escaping them right now.
Yeah, see a couple of settings changes by the players real quick. Just adapting to our environment at the esports center on stage. This is being played live as Boise State fights for their chance to stay in the playoffs no matter what.
Yeah. I also think it's just fun to be able to see how both teams are performing overall and the general strategies going into it as we are done with the timeout and ready to jump back into the matchup. As you were talking about with the eco, you guessed right, the eco is definitely hurting quite a bit, though they do have the operator, so that could be what they need. As they move in, we hear the operator go off. It is not able to capitalize, but Loaf takes out Kayagi. Loaf getting taken down by Freya soon after, so a little bit of a trade. But that operator, although it was not able to hit the first time, able to get the second one off, and Royals goes down.
Interesting wall from Neon, just forces Yoru to try and get a little bit more understanding of the situation. Nothing happening on B mid so far as William and Mary kind of don't know where Boise State is heading at this point in the round. They're more than willing to just chill on their defender spots until they are forced to rotate, however.
I'm out of here.
With that, Boise State is going to move on to A site. The spike goes down. And now, having to very carefully recover the spike, gain some extra information, going to go ahead and plant Paranoia going out from William and Mary, and although the plant is able to go through, Boise State is not able to live and see it as the defuse is going to be able to go to William and Mary.
Honestly, the Paranoia is the story of this team so many times. Last time we talked about Valorant, just quite a while ago, the story of both teams was the breach, but in my opinion, the story of both teams this time around is how they are using that Paranoia to get so many blinds.
Well, and what's interesting about the ability is its nature about how it goes through the wall. Omen is one of the few characters that, like, his ability just kind of go across the map, and you're like, how did it get there? He's like all the way over there, but because he knew his angles, was able to get it to the right spot. The only other characters that really do that are the characters that have the mini-map based smokes.
Yeah.
And so it's a really interesting ability and such a versatile one for the team because they can be in another part of the map but shoot a Paranoia out to still assist. As we're going to jump right into it, that Omen coming back with a vengeance, taking down Royals, although Freya is able to take down Speedy K9 in Garage.
William
Going
and Mary
to move up. Wow, Kyuji taken down, and the spike is going to be recovered by Boise State.
Yeah,
but
such a read by William and Mary. They had so many defenders there, and will it matter?
But the neural theft, he knows exactly where they are.
The double tap still alive for William and Mary as this judge is so awkward for KOS.
This is a bad sight line for KOS, and he knows it, using some util to assist his team, taking out Loaf. Muchim also down. Now it's up to Yoru to try and take this out. But the fake out is going to be tripped, but not going to be capitalized on. Spike is in a fairly safe spot if they can grab it, but they don't exactly know where he is yet.
Yeah, and I love this by KOS, just staying by the angles where the judge actually is relevant and forcing Yoru to them. As the Boise State here, staying together is the way to win the round.
The buddy system is working very well. Hiding in the smoke, using the buddy system to watch these angles. They know Yoru might be right out there with the
Whoa! Collat.
The collateral with the operator.
That is
my
a ridiculous way for William and Mary to get the even up here. Finally, not in the...
I bet he didn't even know
No,
that the other player was there. So he was like, oh, I'm going to take out Neon. Oh, I got both of them.
And if you are Square, you will take those to the bank and back happily, giving your team a clutch victory.
That was insane.
Yoink that
Well, if
away
you
from
didn't know what a
Boise State.
collateral was before, you definitely do now. Operator, more than happy to demonstrate that, taking down the two last players of Boise State Blue and making the game tied 9-9.
Yeah, the ultimates are
Wow.
relatively even here. I do need to see the overdrive work its magic from Fibra here. He's been shut down a couple of times, but
There.
I don't want to see him be shut down this time as he's representing garage control. Tripwire though.
Through. Operator taking down Royal. Freya trying to gain some space for their team. Going to move up, sees Yoru, but does not see Muchim and is taken out from behind. Now down an overdrive and a player. Boise State, with 3 players left, rotating over to A side to see if they can make something work here with just rather rough odds at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they know where they are.
They still have the operator.
To be fair, the operator is smoked off, but
That only lasts so
Fault Line
long.
does not care about that.
Fault line goes out. Ian taking down Sova. Taking a breather for a second.
Another
Paranoia goes down. Want to be careful, they know exactly where they are, so throwing out some more util, checking those sight
30
lines
seconds
here.
left.
The flank, the heaven,
Oh.
the defender spawn, everything is so scary.
Does
The-
not see him, and another Oni
Last player standing.
victim is through as 2 more players go down, and with that, William and Mary able to gain the lead in this matchup.
Yeah, the offense has been quite awkward from Boise State for a couple of rounds now. I believe they have the funds for one last buy round. I might be wrong though. I think I just saw a Spectre, or a Stinger, pardon me.
Yeah, this is going to become a much more tough game for Boise State when it comes to Eco not really having the funds and having limited time to really choose how to use it. After all, giving too many more games to your opponents to gain the Eco means that they could be at match point before you know it. And that op really putting in some work for Yoru. I believe I saw he was at 19. I didn't see his full KDA, but 19
12, I
knockdowns
believe.
there. Yeah, it's rather good. I mean, operator is a great way to do that. Going to throw in a shock dart for some information into the middle. Boise State looking to execute onto B side here.
Both teams know exactly where they want to be. I don't know if it's the best for Boise State though. They might get pinched.
Oh, Square is down, but Speedy K9 getting a collateral, and another player takes down 3 people.
Yeah, I mean, that's them's the breaks for those half buy rounds. But Boise State has a chance to pull themselves back up here and represent that they want this victory on map 2 with a timeout.
Yeah, Boise State activating a timeout, which I think is a good idea when you're getting that close to the end of the match. This is a good time to just take a breather, kind of cool down, and wait a second before continuing on. I mean, William and Mary has been able to kind of create quite an upset at this point, so it's something that you really want to be able to strategize and think about how to go forward.
Yeah, like what is going wrong? How have they gotten these rounds? I think the key point is honestly that Yoru recently, that operator has been shredding Boise State alive.
Yeah. You know, something I find interesting about that too is when people talk about the meta when it comes to characters and, you know, the preferences and who and like is good and who isn't. Yori was not a character that is typically picked, but he's been able to get a lot of versatility out of his kit. And, you know, operators don't hurt either, as we were talking about. They're one of the... You don't have to really focus on where you're aiming as long as you aim and you're able to take them out. Yeah, just hit them and it'll work out for you in the end. So, yeah, Boise State, I think that'll be a main thing is how do we get the operator out of their hands? And then ultimately with the eco that they've been able to save, probably how do we get another operator out of their hands right afterwards? So I think it'll be down to just how they handle that and choose to move forward as we get a little view at a fun little guy hiding in the tower.
I didn't even know that guy existed. I've been playing since the beta. Hi.
He's all the way in the back somewhere, I bet. I don't know exactly where, but
that's pretty
one
awesome.
of the towers somewhere. Ooh.
Something awesome.
Instantly hit with vulnerability as well, which is not a fun thing to see.
And yeah, this is like Christmas Day for William and Mary. The util is beautiful from them.
Oh, another one.
Yeah. They get 2 per round, both popped from ISO. But at this point, it's definitely worth it as they have taken 4 for 1, 5 for 0, pardon me.
And with that, Boise State is now facing a match point William and Mary round here. William and Mary getting fairly confident at this point. I mean, they've been able to just so easily, not necessarily easily, I suppose, but they've been very confident in their plays, and it's been really showing.
Yeah, I mean, Square just giving the entire team a rally there with that double collat so many rounds back. And William & Mary has taken every round since then, to be honest. Boise State, their timeout didn't matter enough for the last round. Will it matter this round?
Jumping into it, Boise State switching up their strategy, checking C long to see how this might work out for them. Another option might be a good way to go in, but we're going to see with Fastlane and Relay going out. Freya having to deal with some concussion here, but Muchim is taken out by Royals, and KOS begins the plant. Boise State looking for their post-plant opportunities as William and Mary uses Hunter Fury to try and get some picks, but Boise State is able to avoid it. Another player is down, Square and Loaf are out, and the plant is going to actually begin this time.
Yeah, a real timer for William and Mary, and when you are 5-2, the last thing you want to do is approach. You want to be defending. But alas, William and Mary forced into a rock and a hard place.
And with Breach having the util that he did, as we just saw, that's a rough spot to be, but as they move through Garage, Freya does not see them, and 2 players are taken out. Sova able to gain a better sightline for his team. Moving into backup Omen, smoke goes down, so they don't have as much visibility. They do see the recon bolt go out, but Royals is going to use Hunter's Fury to stall them out of the point and deny them from being able to use it. Also taking out the opposing Sova here, and with that, Speedy is down, and the operator is finally gone.
Finally gone.
Though, if we had to guess, we do know what might be picked up in this round, as I do believe they have the funds. Yep, there it is. Oh my goodness, Speedy is at max credits.
That's
wow.
Ridiculous, yeah. All Valorant's agents have respawned for this round, and so has the operator in Square's hands, to be honest. As Boise State is still forced for a couple of light shields. Not the best economy, but it's all you have. And when you're on match point, that's all you need.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to add in an Omen to the mix as well. Boise State will want to be careful as another vulnerability is thrown on. Boise State not getting a break as he continues to throw Undercut out onto A-Long here with some good success. Boise State losing another member to the op.
The operator is known on A, but at this point, what other choice do you have if you're Boise State? You've given up the rest of the map. A-Long in a dream is all you have.
Moving through the smoke, Freya looks for an opportunity, knows that there are players there as they look to make some cover of their own. Fastlane going out, moving through the smoke, able to see Sova, but not able to get the pick that they need. Going to attempt that again. Sova is down, but the paranoia is through, and they can't see. And with that, KOS, although almost able to take out the opposing Omen, the operator is there. And with that, we'll be going to map 3.
Map 3. And that, honestly, as most sets are that are this close, it was a story of momentum. Boise State had it all until I believe it was round 9 to 6 around that area. And then William and Mary got that double op collat and stole the game from there.
Yeah, and I mean, that can just be such a morale-breaking thing to see, and with that, Boise State will have to figure out how to recover. Just take a breather for this next map.
Yeah.
It'll be a fresh slate, new area, new agents, most likely, and so with that, while we are getting ready, we'll just be able to see what they'll decide as they jump into it. And I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think that in general, like what you were talking about with momentum, it's also going to be an eco issue. I mean, there is a point near the end of the map, right? If your opponent has high eco and you have low eco and they are super close to match point, there is not a lot you can do to actually deal with that at that point. And so then you just kind of are like, as we were talking about, yes, you defeated the op, but now there's another op, and it's still match point, and there's not a lot that you've been able to do to change the stakes, and that's just such a defeating feeling, especially when you know your eco's not going to get affected as much.
Yeah, I mean, that defensive decision from William and Mary to represent the operator is definitely what gave them so much value on the defensive side, and what choked Boise State out of their round 2 win.
Yeah, and with that, while we're getting ready for map 3, we will take a quick break, as will the Boise State esports team.
Once there was a traveler whose feet never left the ground. With only his mind as his map and his senses his compass, he raced into the great unknown. Armed only with the speed of legend. His trails he blazed, his rivals he played. Every sprint a blur. Every turn trusting his allies. In silence he raged and waged with quickening, sickening speed. His name a chant filling arenas. Because some heroes leave footprints, others an afterburn. Without conflict, there is no resolution. Without verses, there is no victory.
Idaho's Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance. It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho's Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You've got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
back to the Boise State Esports Arena as we continue our coverage of the Boise State Blue Valorant team facing off against Williams and Mary College in their their last Valorant matchup of the season. If they are able to complete this matchup and win, Boise State will be guaranteed to continue on in the competition. However, they are not really able to win it just yet, as we are currently 1-1 going into the third map mid-match here. So we're going to be right into it. And with this right now, Boise State has a lot at stake. They were able to take the first map, but not the second. So now they'll have to be able to continue their momentum as we jump into a map we haven't really seen a lot within the normal varsity matches, and as we're going to be jumping into Pearl.
Yeah. Pearl, a map that has been reworked so many times at this point, especially that B site. And I want to see what Boise State's strategy is throughout the entire map. And so far, as I mentioned, William and Mary forcing themselves onto that B site.
Yeah, jumping right into it. Boise State on the defense here with William and Mary on offense. Moving towards that A side right now, trying to find their opportunities. Boise State rotating around to try and catch William and Mary off guard. However, what they don't see is the Phoenix behind them, or I guess the Astra actually, excuse me. Taking them out now, Boise State down to 2 players.
Yeah, a lot of characters from William and Mary that we haven't seen so far in this set. The Fade, Astra, and Phoenix.
As well as Killjoy. So really, it's an entirely new roster that we have not seen from the previous matchup.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see some Phoenix gameplays. It's been a while since we've seen him. And no surprises here, we do see a Gecko on Boise State side as we jump into the next interaction onto B site here. Phoenix creating a wall to block off, but Freya taking down Square. However, Boise State's Fade is down as the spike gets planted. Ian is able to cut them off, but not as fast as they would like.
Yeah,
With the spike down, the time is up.
Yeah, this is the beauty of B for William and Mary. It's so awkward for Ian to chase down the remaining survivors. Playing a little bit of ring around the rosy, and nice shot from the Phoenix there, Loaf.
Yeah,
Securing
great
them.
swing there. Boise State just was checking one angle, and unfortunately for them, that was not the angle that Phoenix was at. And now William and Mary is able to secure the first round.
Loaf is proving why Phoenix is worthy on this map. He's not that common of an agent, as we mentioned before. He's pretty underrated in the meta, but this is the one map I see him quite often because of that B presence. The wall and the 2 flashes are just so nice on that site to force defenders into awkward positions. And actually, SHK, or pardon me, Speedy K9 representing a Vandal on William and Mary's side. What a buy.
Astra creating some extra space for the Boise State Broncos here as they checking through mid. Firefight going through. Royals is down. Square is able to take out another player, though. Gecko able to take out some players on the opposing side as well.
Yeah, these eco frags, Kayagi has gotten himself a Vandal on a round he definitely shouldn't have one. What will he do with it?
However, while they were on the other side, William and Mary was able to get a plant onto B site, and now Boise State will have to begin a careful rotate as they don't know where their opponents are, and that will become a just kind of dangerous spot for them going forward. They don't want to lose any players before the retake.
Yeah. And this is the scariest part. There's a couple angles coming in from spawn that can be contested for B, especially with that Killjoy turret.
Throwing out some information onto the site to try and find players. Going to jump into the firefight. Unfortunately for them, players on both sides take them out, and William and Mary able to secure another win.
The crossfires on B for the offense are just ridiculous, and that is a beautiful example of why Boise State all peeking the Fade from William and Mary and getting punished by the Phoenix on the other side.
And as we were talking about before with the Fatal Eco, although the gunplay will be evened out a little bit, William and Mary holding pretty strong weaponry-wise and saving a little bit, it looks like, just so they don't have to worry about later on.
Yep, a typical bonus round, William and Mary for their survivors. And Boise State, this is their first round to truly prove themselves. Are they ready for this map? Past the pistol shenanigans, as Kayagi is cornered in Pearl.
And with Phoenix using his ultimate, he has a little bit of extra room to work with as well.
That 6 ult points is
There.
just a huge reason why Phoenix can even be picked, to be honest. The quickness and the tempo in getting them, we're going to see a lot of that ult. And I wouldn't be surprised to see results like that every single time.
Well, it just gives him a lot of extra room to work with, and we can see with that William Mary very confidently moving on to B once again. Royal's really the only one there, taking down Loaf, taking down Fade. And with that, although the spike is down, Boise State able to take out a couple players, though a couple players are lost on their own side. Ian looking to move in to assist Royals, who had to back out, taking Speedy K9 down, moving in, but is taken out by Square. The plant has not gone through yet, and so far Boise State has been able to hold them back and prevent them from doing anything.
Royals is the name of the game here. They do know where he is, but might not be the worst here. It's almost like he's on offense at this point.
Royals able to get Square. Square had the spike, and now
1v1.
Killjoy has to move in to recover it. Begins the plant. Boise State knows generally where they are. Going to try through the box and gets the clutch.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. Great wall bangs there from Royals. Just a hero play through and through, as a Jet is supposed to do.
You'd really hope, right?
Though the ones in my ranked games, including me, are usually on the bottom of the leaderboard, sadly. Not where Royals is right now. Beautiful clutch with the wallbang awareness.
I appreciate also just not really giving up, knowing that that's probably where they're planting, considering where they were before, just like knowing they have to get one right angle. And with that, as we're jumping into the next match, we get a little nice picnic, new little spot. If you've never seen it before, now you have.
I love the points of interest on Valorant's like map that aren't shown in game that much. Like if you're Ian right here, you're not going to see that picnic, but beautiful sights for the audience to see, such as KOS's headshot there.
Showstopper also going out. William and Mary wanting to move in fast, but taken out.
What was that headshot angle? KOS is
down
ridiculous.
the fort here.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah. The hero of the name of the game was Royals last round, but make no mistake, KOS is pulling his weight as well, managing to headshot the Rays with the Showstopper and keeping the show going for Boise State on that A site.
Yeah, that Showstopper could have been deadly, and for that, Boise State is able to bring this game to a tie now. William and Mary now potentially on the back foot with momentum.
Yeah, not only is it a tie for Boise State, but economically, William and Mary are in a recession for their guns. Have to fight back with pretty poor guns. Probably might even be an eco round for William and Mary.
Going to bring the cameras out to get some general idea of what's going on while Boise State goes for a prowler, knows there are people, and is going to immediately back off. I do not blame that Fade at all. Freya not wanting to take any unnecessary damage, but taking a guess through the smoke is able to take out Speedy K9.
Yeah. Ian here to help out Boise State's Fade along the way. I love the positioning from William and Mary. They have only classics pistols, all of that jazz, so they need to play close angles, and that is what they are doing up through mid. But how do you transition from mid to a more open site in this scenario? Loaf representing a Vandal, they likely took off of a corpse. That's one way to do it. No util though.
Watching their sight lines, not wanting to get caught off guard as they move towards A. Throwing out a prowler to gain some information, but Astra holding down the fort here with their smokes. Oh, just barely moves out of the way. Phoenix sees him and is able to take down Loaf. Repositioning while the rest of their team joins in to help them. The trap wire is triggered, and Boise State is pretty comfortable knowing where they might be. As they go for the plant, we also have an operator on Boise State's side.
I didn't catch that until now. Royals representing a cannon here.
Very happy to give them a taste of their own medicine as they take out a couple players, missing the op shot, but more than happy to back them up. Freya is able to assist Royals and not let the operator go in vain.
Royals is having it. There's no reason to take it fully as Fyra gets closer, actually gets their full ultimate, Boise State representing so much advantage here on the round count, on the eco count,
Yeah,
and
they have
on the ultimate count.
complete resource control here on this defensive side, which is going to be a very unfortunate spot for William and Mary here. I mean, they do have full shields, which would give them a little bit of room, but with all of these ultimates on the block here, I mean, you've got Thrash to create space, Astra to just really deny a lot of like sightlines and again create space, and now just some pretty deadly blade storms and a lot of location information actually, if anything.
Yeah, and
so William and Mary doesn't get to hide out at all right now.
I need Boise State to not be greedy with these ults. It's usually tempting to save them.
Oh.
But this round is key, and William and Mary knows it, representing it in their firefights. This round is what William and Mary needs to get back in the game.
Taking down 2 members of Boise State, now down to 3 players left to defend. William and Mary able to keep all of their people up, have a big advantage going into this next site push. As they are prepping, KOS also looking to create some extra just sightlines here and recover the operator for some better
Face your fear!
knockdown. Fade ultimate going out.
They are facing their fears of this execute, as William and Mary are representing their minor resources here with Phoenix and Astra and Fade ults to the best they can.
Though taking out KOS, Astra is done and gone. And with Fade gaining so much information for William and Mary, Boise State now pushed off the site with not a lot of places to go. Having to face a 2v5, now a 2v1. Ian is not able to do enough, and William and Mary is able to get to flawless and tie up the match.
Significant situation for William and Mary. Not the biggest sweat for Boise State, though. Shows how ahead Boise State was on their resources. Now they can represent a Blade Storm here. Probably, I would not be surprised to see Royals buy KOS a gun here as they place all their faith in this round for the economy.
Yeah, I think you can generally guess when an ultimate is about to come out when, especially for the characters that don't buy up too much here. We do see some eco sharing as Blade Storm is activated immediately for Boise State, creating some movement on B side here. KOS, Freya taking out Loaf.
Oh, nice. Loaf is still alive since he did pop a Phoenix ult, but
now Run It Back was active, and so he'll still be around, but with it gone, he is not coming back this time as Ian takes him out.
yeah.
And now with positions compromised as well, Neural Theft going through, Boise State has a really, really good idea of where William and Mary is, and with that, Royals is going to move up, try and gain some space, knows how to use it, but Square is ready and waiting, taking down Royals before he can really activate any abilities.
Oh, the nade. This is so awkward for Fire. It barely stays alive, but barely is still not the best, as KOS finds a small pick on the flank there with the Cypher. And all 3 have gone down from William and Mary's side.
With that, Boise State is able to come out of the tie with the upper hand once again. 4-3, and with that, a timeout is going to begin, which not necessarily surprised after, you know, gaining some good momentum, gaining the tie, and then Boise State shutting them down. They'll want to look at that. But they have been able to take some of the ultimates away from Boise State. Blade Storm really wasn't able to get as much as they wanted from it. So now there is a bit of an upper hand in that way. But Boise State still has a pretty comfortable space to be in right now.
Yeah, and that round is definitely a beautiful display of win conditions in Valorant. Boise State, they had a couple ways to win that round, either force the defenders to just push them and die, and the way they did it in that one was buying a couple of flankers just barely enough time to edge out and surprise William and Mary.
Yeah, I think that something that's been very fun to see is just also some of the gameplay from Fade that we haven't seen a ton in, you know, PEC or other teams. Fade just being a great character for information, not always used as much as, say, like Sova can be, but right now, really good for Pearl with a lot of the angles in different corners where it would be a little bit hard to get an owl drone or a recon shot out. We can see Prowler in full effect, as well as a couple other abilities that kind of have been very beneficial, actually, really, for William and Mary moving on to sites right now.
Yeah, like those prowlers, they are just so much less clunky than the owl drone. While owl drone gives so much more information as you get to see it, you can just run with the prowler and keep the momentum going. Both teams using that momentum for different purposes. Fyra using it to scout out where they need to be, and that is definitely on A.
Unfortunately for Kayagi on A showstopper is going to be the end of his time in this round as William and Mary moves on to the site, taking down 2 members of Boise State's team and beginning to plant. Now, all that's left is Fade against 4 other players for William and Mary here.
And I mean, this round is just representative of the strategy that William and Mary has represented, gives them the wins on attacker's side. Just blow all their resources and very quickly execute onto a site. And Boise State still not having a full solution. I mean, it's hard with that much util to deal with an execute of that caliber.
Yeah, realistically, there's not a ton that Boise State can do, especially when people are taken out so quickly like that. You don't have a lot of time to react. You are wanting to communicate it as much as possible, but when pretty much everyone except for one person is taken down, now one person has all this information, but not a lot of room to work with, and now Boise State has to go into this next match with a lot less resources than before. Wow, and once again, we're seeing that quick execute onto B main here. KOS trying to hide behind the post, but not able to really get the trade that they want here. There is a trade as a Killjoy is going to force everyone off with lockdown. Now, William and Mary has a lot of space to execute onto B site here and move up.
Honestly, this isn't the worst situation for Boise State. That Killjoy will give them a lot of time on their own. They are going to get the plant William and Mary are, but Boise State has represented a lot of impressive retakes, and it starts with the Fade ultimate.
Yeah, seeing the ultimate go out. Now going to move forward. Nightfall trying to create some trails of enemies. They can see where they are, but William Mary has the double commit here and is able to take out Boise State. With that, now gaining the lead.
Yeah, those double commits, so brutal in this game. Unlike some other games, those trades, I mean, those double peaks are just ridiculous to deal with in a 1v2.
I mean, yeah, when people peek together, you're already trying to get a general guessing of like where other people are, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're making that guess, and then there's 2 other people making the same guess, the odds are not in your favor in that scenario. As we take a little bit of a break here, I love this new little guy we got to see for a moment there, fishing peacefully on the other side of Pearl.
Honestly, if I'm in the Valorant world, I just want to be one of those type of guys. But
it's like me in the distance while the Radiants are duking it out.
Yeah, the Radiants, William and Mary specifically, are representing such a quick playstyle recently. They are divided by the Astra ults that they themselves created.
Camera taken out.
PSU, Freya, and Royals, and Kayagi taken down. Boise State down to 2 players as Speedy K9 begins the plant. Very similar situation to where Boise State was forced into before. Phoenix creating a wall. However, Ian is able to see the rays, but not able to take them out. KOS able to back them up, but ultimately Loaf is able to knock them out. And now that William and Mary are able to safely plant, they get the ult point and the round, now creating a 2-point gap.
Yeah, the 2-point gap. I mean, that isn't the worst point to give up when you're Boise State. Obviously, losing a round always hurts, but they didn't lose their eco with it. Now, this round is the one that can be brutal. This is one of the more important rounds of the half. If Boise State loses this one, they are going to be forced to not have a goodbye next round, which is the final round of the half.
Yeah. Wanting to set up as best as you can for the last round before the swap. Will Boise State be able to lock down their defenses, or will William and Mary, who has chosen to leave the spike behind as they do a little bit of scouting, take this next round? As we kind of move through the middle here, we see Boise State trying to watch these angles and sightlines as best they can, hoping to catch them off guard.
Yeah. The ultimates are down for both sides. So the executes are not quick, which is why we see this default for William and Mary. And Boise State loves it when they play this slower play style. It's what they're more used to. As Royals finds the first out of many picks for Boise State.
We're square down, and Astra taking some punishment. Now, at this point, Boise State fairly comfortable with their defensive positions and have kind of shown William and Mary that they're ready to duke it out, though moving away from the positions they might be expecting them in as they move over to A. Ian hiding in the smoke, Royals joining them. William and Mary begins the execute and the plant. Boise State waiting patiently for their moment.
Patience is the name of the game for these defenders here. They are outnumbered. And their time
Haunt is active. Well, not Haunt. Prowler goes out as well. Have an idea where it is, and Ian takes out Fade while Royals takes out Killjoy. Boise State beginning the retake. Going to move forward. The Astra ult is creating a little bit of a confusion point, but for them, they're able to move past it, take out the last player, and begin the defuse. Oh, and there's Wingman. He tried.
What a beautiful representation of what Astra ult can do, to be honest. Definitely one of the key factors in that play. Another one was the Prowler, as we're about to see in this replay. This Prowler gives Ian just the right amount of information to wallbang the enemy Fade.
Yeah, and wow, that was just a really, really good retake from Boise State. Just working together, communicating, and recognizing, okay, we need to move in at this timing together was what ultimately allowed them to take the point and start to gain some momentum back.
Yeah.
I will say it is always sad to see a wingman next to a spike. You know, he tried his best. He wanted to help, but ultimately William and Mary denied him this time around.
But he did his job as he diverted attention. Meanwhile, KOS is waiting to know where he needs to place his, as William and Mary need to represent where they are going. Playing a little slow. As I mentioned before, Boise State is okay with this play style. Silence is deafening for both sides, to be honest. Nobody knows what's about to go down as William and Mary are inching their way to this execute on A.
Watching all those angles, Fade is going to activate another Nightfall, gaining some information for William and Mary. However, Ian is going to take down Loaf. Loaf did have run it back, so he's not out of the running yet. And William and Mary is going to take down two members of Boise State. However, Kayagi is not going to go down without a fight, taking down Fade with KOS taking down Astra. Now 2-2 here. Thrash is going to go out, try to gain some space, but isn't able to quite catch Loaf. Freya now the last player. It is a 1v1 on this last spot here, trying to aim. Bushim is able to take down Freya, and William and Mary secures the round.
I really love the choice by Gecko there. He was so pressured and managed to find value out of the Thrash, even though he could have risked his entire life for it. Sadly, the 1v1 duel does not go the way of Boise State, but it's only 5-7, not the worst deficit at all for the South
And realistically, he did the job of creating that space for his teammate, which, you know, in any team game, if you're able to push someone into your teammate's sight lines, that's one of the best things you can do, and it ended up working out in favor of Boise State for a little bit. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to get the last angle right, and that's okay. As you mentioned, it's only a 2-round deficit, and we'll have to see if Boise State is able to come back from it.
2-for-1 sale upcoming on this pistol round. Typically the determiner of who is going to snatch momentum for the rest of the map. Can Boise State take it and make this lead nothing? Starts off strong with a pick from Fyra. Might be dedicated towards the A side at this point.
Beginning with the Sheriff, as we said before, goal is to click heads, and that is exactly what Boise State did, taking down one player as they begin a more slower paced scoping out of the area around A. Square trying to take some early picks from a distance here, but not able to pick anyone up.
I mean, yeah, I love this default from Boise State representing both the mid pinch and the generic A push, and it makes William and Mary devoid of information, to be honest. They're so scared, and the 3 players up mid can basically flood this A site now. This raid is doomed.
Pink Shells goes out, trying to create some space, but KOS takes them down as Kayagi begins the plant. Boise State looking for the retake, moving together as a team back down towards spawn, looking to see if they might catch William and Mary coming down for a counterattack with the hunt out, trying to gain some information as well. William and Mary slowly checking the site, not seeing anyone. Boise State having in control of the sight line, sending down a Prowler just to do a little bit of a double check. Information fully gained. Wow, with the blind from Dizzy.
Just click
giving
ahead.
Boise State the flawless there. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Boise State had all of their team members arrive, but Fyra there just entered and clicked on his own. He didn't even need the support of his teammates at the very end there.
Honestly, that Dizzy is like a great example of that working well. We rarely get to see Dizzy fully capitalize there, but as we see right here, he's able to get 2 blinds off, and with that, Boise State was able to comfortably moving on to site and take out 2 players.
Yeah. Gekko's kit, very interesting. It does have drawbacks. For example, that Dizzy does take a lot longer to flash than most of the other flash characters. Finally gets value there.
Wait a moment.
And something that isn't taking long is William and Mary's aggression as they eco rush through mid.
Yeah, moving all the way up to mid, checking the spawn. Boise State moving around, trying to avoid it. Fade kind of left on their own. Ooh, they could be boxed in. This could be dangerous for Fade as they are moving up towards A site right now. 2 players from William Mary following behind them. Boise State going to begin the plant. Will Fade see the killjoy and is successful, taking out Moochum. Getting a little bit of a lurk successfully off with the plant. Now, Boise State in a very comfortable position in this round.
Yeah, I mean, this is commanding. They have the widest sight lines in the world on B site. And when their guns are Vandals and the opponents are Classics, that's all you need. William and Mary finding a small pick, might get a deagle, maybe something of the sort, but I do not think it's enough for this retake, as they have around 15 seconds to try their best.
Royals looking around, pops out, taking out the Fade. Now going to get double teamed, however. Speedy K9 taking Royals out while they were hiding in the backside. Boise State hanging in the back line here, able to back them up and take down the rest of the players, with Square being taken down by the Spike.
And yep, the 2-for-1 deal, the prophecy of pistol round has occurred, as Boise State has tied with William and Mary from that pistol round, and here is where the game truly starts. If Boise State can take one more round from William and Mary here, their econ will be in shambles for the rest of the game.
As we prepare for the next round, Boise State carefully picking where they might be going next, leaving the Spike near A side, looking likely to choose that direction, but not wanting to move up immediately.
And this is just key for Boise State. I love the map choice and the play style from Boise State, just forcing William and Mary to play their pace, their slow default style perfectly.
Dizzy taking out really any secrecy that William and Mary could have, as he now just gets to sit here before disappearing for a little bit. With that, Boise State really wanting to hold down A right now, knowing there are 2 players out here, checking their location, seeing the Prowler. Custer creating some cover. They see Phoenix. Phoenix is down. Now 1 player left. Boise State not fully aware they're there, but also not really wanting to push the site. Successfully taking down 1 player, going to begin a rotate over to B side.
And that is more than enough for Boise State. I'm bringing it up again and again, but that 1 pick lets Boise State play so much slower, just prodding William and Mary and figuring out which site is the best choice. Royals finding out that it might be B, as Williams and Mary might counterattack. Yep, a little bit of a peek there. Jet E, beautiful for the situation. Have to use it soon though.
Square taken down by Ian as they move onto site. The firefight begins. Kayagi taking down Moochum. KOS going down, but Kayagi also taking down the Fade, and Boise State able to eliminate all the defenders and gain the advantage 8-7.
And what that means is more than just 8-7. So many rounds have implications in Valorant, and this one is, as we can see right there, those pistols from William and Mary are quite pitiful as they have to recoup their economy.
And look at the little chibi guys on screen behind as well, continuing to see the fun of Pearl that we haven't really gotten to see in the PEC season. Now we get to see just some little secrets hidden around. I for one, would enjoy being a level designer where I get to just hide a bunch of little guys everywhere.
Yeah, just like I believe on one of the maps there are computers playing other Riot games as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, taking a look onto B site. We
Royal here,
have
though.
Square on the post, taking down Royals, but Ian is following fast pursuit, taking down 2 players on the other side. Boise State knows where Square is, going to try and push them off to site and take them out if possible, but a plant will also suffice as Boise State is now able to gain the advantage and put the pressure onto William and Mary.
Yeah, William and Mary representing, I believe they grabbed a couple of guns from the Scandal before, but these long angles are still better for Boise State than it is for William and Mary. Beautiful plant as they have to try and retake. The Dizzy is planned from get-go. Will you see it though? No, Fire might just win as Boise State rolls William and Mary in the long-range
With that,
combat there.
another full elimination and spike plant gives Boise State the 2-round momentum that they were looking for. And now William and Mary is the one on the back foot for this round.
Yep.
And potentially this match as we're starting to get into the end game here.
Yeah, the end game. Reminder
My
for
goodness,
everyone
it's a
that is
complete
watching.
comic store. I didn't even see that before.
End game is a little bit more precise there, as this is the end of the matches in the general season, as well as Boise State needing this final one to guarantee playoffs. 2 rounds up, can they get to 13?
Moving through the middle, shaking up the strategies a little bit here. Spreading out to gain some more information onto all the sites. Royals watching down that sight line, notices that Raze and Fade are there. Boise State deciding how they want to handle this now. We do see William and Mary moving around. Prowler also going out to detect information. Right now, Boise State deciding that Slow and Steady might win the race here as they choose to just gather some information and look for some picks. Ian taking down Speedy K9 and Freya just barely making it out of the way of that door there. Neural Theft compromising the positions of all the players as well. Boise State now knows exactly where William Mary is and how they're set up. And with that, we're going to begin to execute onto B-site.
Yeah. They all rejoice as they get the entirety of B-side for themselves. William and Mary do have a couple of scary angles on this Heaven angle. Boise State is ready though.
They see Heaven and they take him out. Square is down. And with that, the spike is successfully planted. With Killjoy also down, Boise State is able to retreat into their post-plant area and begin the defense. Phoenix trying to push them off, but to no avail as Boise State has 3 players hanging on. Prowler goes out. They do have an idea where they might be. Loaf goes for the defuse. Fade is there, takes down Royal, but KOS takes down Fade. And now it's just Loaf trying to bait anyone out so he can potentially get the defuse, but Boise State has the camera and they know exactly where he is.
Yeah. And I bring up win conditions quite a lot, and this is one of my favorite ones Boise State has been representing, as they can just chill in their own spawn, not too many angles to be afraid of, while they have to attempt to defuse. William and Mary does. It's been giving them a lot of value here as they move up 10-7, and William and Mary once again are going to be struggling on their econ, which is why they start a timeout.
Yeah, taking a second to kind of reassess from that point. I mean, now Boise State has been able to get a 3-point lead, which we've really yet to see in the matches that we've been watching on stream so far. In the very first map, they were able to go 12-6, so, or 13-6. So overall, starting to see something similar to what we saw in the first map. Now the question is how William and Mary might choose to deal with Boise State to try and gain back any momentum despite low eco.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so awkward because as time and time again, I've talked about how Boise State is stronger on the slower side of things, and that is the strength of William and Mary's, is to go quick, but they can't force Boise State to go quick, really, to be honest, since they are not the attackers. So they have to make a backup plan for how they want to approach the game.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, the only way they could really force them to do that is if they tried to push into spawn. But as we saw from the time that that happened, William and Mary did get taken out. Their 2 players that were there went down, and Boise State was able to gain the numbers advantage they needed to comfortably execute onto B-site. So it will have to be some very careful plays from William Mary if they want to deny Boise State and try and take the win, while Boise State really just has to continue to stay calm, play smart, and, you know, not waste the creds that they have right now.
Yeah, William & Mary does need to take a calculated gamble. The problem is you're gambling one of your 3 remaining rounds of safety.
The little guy.
He's so awesome. And what's more awesome is that Boise State is turning up the heat. They knew a timeout just happened, so they're gonna scare William and Mary off of their game plan. Beautiful, quick execute as they are gaining the entirety of sight.
Royals taking down Square. Wingman going out to plant the spike as we do see a Nightfall come out from Fade. Boise State now knowing the locations of where they are. Muchum going to take down. Will be taken down by Royals, and with that, Boise State kind of looking at the slow and steady pace that we've been talking about and going, let's change that up for a second, and it's going to really work out for them well as they manage to take down 2 players from the off angle here, and now Speedy K9 is the only one left, having to retreat back, able to pick up a better weapon, might be able to hold up against Boise State, but Boise State has 4 players, and at this point, they are going to have to be really careful as they realize they can't really get the bomb and just have to back off.
Speedy K9 referencing his name well, running away as far as he can, as speedy as he can, trying to live the end game here.
And he was able to get a weapon off of it too, which would be a good thing for them to have considering we have been talking about the eco-starve they've been dealing with.
Indeed, and this is one of the final chances William and Mary's have. They do not have much more time to adapt to understand Boise State. And I just love how Boise State, the tempo changed there. They represented B-site like 4 rounds in a row. They played slow 4 rounds in a row. The timeout hits. William and Mary is going to be ready for that. And they just explode onto A-site, blindsiding them.
It's very much one of those when you know that your opponent has time to strategize and figure out how to deal with your methodology, change up the methodology, and we see Boise State doing just that. Moving back onto A-site, trying to go through the smoke, but Loaf is going to take down Freya here. Now, as we move back, Boise State slowing it down a little bit, not going to immediately move up into firefights. Watching both of the angles, taking down Killjoy, seeing another player, not going to immediately take this firefight a second time, going to just smoke it off instead and back off.
Yeah, Royals here. Honestly, one of a few situations that he can use mid for. Probably gonna back off. His entire team gets sniped by Fade though.
Yeah, 2 players down on Boise State side. Fade taking out both of them, though, getting taken out in the end as well. Boise State down to 2 players with William and Mary at 3 with an ultimate, though. Boise State does have a Blade Storm in their back pocket if need be. And now rotating over to B side, Boise State will have to see if they can get
30 seconds left.
through. Now 30 seconds left. Boise State does not have a lot of time to plant or eliminate the entirety of William and Mary.
What they don't have is time.
The angle.
Yeah. I love the crouching actually. Rare time crouching is used in this high level of play. Evades it for William and Mary.
Oh,
10 seconds left.
has Square going to go for the plant. Astra is the last player left. Can't see him, doesn't get the wallbang off successfully.
Oh,
but Speedy K9 is able to take down Kayagi and will be able to get the defuse here.
Yeah. One of many rounds that William and Mary has had on this defensive side to finally break through the momentum. Finally goes well on the back of Speedy K9.
More little guys. They're everywhere on the map. They're sharing a coffee, admiring the sky as we get ready. 11-8. Now a 3-round difference. William and Mary wanting to begin the crawl back if they can. But we'll have to see if they're able to pull it off. After all, Boise State has been able to get a lot of successful pushes through. So will this be a fluke, or will William and Mary be able to shut down Boise State?
Yeah, we've seen a very similar situation like this last map. Though we do see a lineup for Boise State.
Oh, no!
Look at look at this! Just a ridiculously quick round. We didn't even get to see it all through the lineup, but not the end of the world for Boise State. They can recoup their losses and turn this 2v3 into a 2v0. Approaching mid here.
Going back through middle, saw how quickly people were taken out before, going to use the neural theft to gain information on the locations of all the players. And with that, they are very comfortable to move where they need to. They have a plan and they know where to go. The question is, will they be able to outpace these 3 players here, as they're kind of stuck in a little bit of a sandwich right now. They've got 3 different areas they would like to go, and there are going to be players up every single direction. Moving through the plaza here
is that nobody on William & Mary's side is back-to-back. Unlike Boise State, they can take a trade here.
Gecko watching
Buddy
the angle, they're
system
checking.
for this
Goes
deadlock.
around! Oh!
Yeah, no.
Muchim able to take both players out and take another round.
Yeah, beautiful angle and patience, honestly, from the deadlock. She was there for quite a long time, finally getting rewarded for 2 kills.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen people sit at that angle a couple times, so Killjoy being able to actually, like, reap the rewards of that, always a good thing to see. And now Boise State, although very comfortable earlier on, now going to go into a timeout as they prepare to consider their own options against their opponents, which one thing I wanted to note was I saw 4 out of 5 ultimates there for William and Mary, so that's going to be a rough combo jumping into it.
I mean, I'm just getting deja vu, honestly. This exact type of situation happened just last map. Will Boise State be able to keep their composure unlike last time and sail their way to victory?
I think the big thing will just be those early knockouts. I mean, we saw that William and Mary moved up very quickly, caught Boise State as they were moving through the midsection, and at that point kind of separated the team and didn't really give them a lot of room to recover. So at this point now, the big issue that they have is just whether or not William and Mary is going to try and do that again, as those were really comfortable spots for Boise State.
And unlike those comfortable spots, the one Boise State is in right now, as you just mentioned, those ultimates, that is how William & Mary is likely planning to take this victory and this set. How will Boise State respond to those ultimates? We are going to see very quickly as the round is starting.
Yeah, we jump in. One thing that Boise State does have is the fact that not everyone has the full shields, although only one person has light shields. That's still a boon, as Dizzy's going to be thrown out. Looking for a potential blind, as well as a haunt. Muchim taken out quickly by Jet, as Boise State begins to move on to A site. Boise State will luckily not find anyone there once they begin to move in, though Astra is watching the sightlines from the back here. Boise State beginning the plant, Wingman doing his dutiful duty here and getting the spike down for Boise State as they now begin to defend. Thrash going to go out, Boise State creating space for themselves and forcing them to back up, though KOS is going to be taken out by Speedy K9.
The run it back.
Run it back is active, Nightfall as well. Boise State is marked and decayed, but they are able to take down Loaf before he can really do much with it. Square also going down. Fade and Astra. Boise State holding down the line, not being deterred by this Nightfall or the run it back. And now 3-1. Loaf tries to go for the defuse. Boise State knows where the spike is and takes him out. And with that, Boise State brings it to match point.
Yeah, William and Mary bet it all there. They spent some of the most important ultimates they had on their side. They still have the Killjoy ult, which is probably more important.
Good for stall out, but
that round was so ridiculously important, and Boise State snatches it back after their timeout.
that is going to be a rough thing to try and recover from. And with Boise State at match point now, they do not have the room that they need to work through this. And so William & Mary is going to have a very tough round here. If they manage to get past it, Boise State now looking to secure this win, as we're going to jump right into B site. Paint shells going out and the smokes are down. Boise State throwing out the util to try and create space around this corner, taking down Square. Now dashing forward, Royals doing their job as the duelist, creating that space, going into the open area. They see where a Prowler is, and Ian is able to take down the Fade. Now executing onto B site here with an ultimate to cut off the sides. Boise State is able to get the plant. And now, a very comfortable position. Loaf taking down Royals, but Loaf is now down himself. Moving into this angle, Killjoy is down the hallway, but not for long. Now Astra is the last player left for William & Mary, as Boise State has both the spike and total control of the site.
Yeah, I mean, that was just ridiculous. They exploded onto site uncharacteristically, and it is rewarding them so well. Speedy K9 cannot run, but he can fight. Does he have the willpower to win
down.
this 1v3?
Speedy K9 is still marked. They know exactly where he is. Unfortunately for this player, they're going to move through and be taken out immediately. And with that, Boise State 13-9, taking map 3 and the round overall.
Yeah.
Able to move on. Continuing.
Yeah. Guaranteed playoffs. Boise State ecstatic for that. And it showed in their gameplay that final round, to be honest. They knew they were on the precipice of that reward and used their util beautifully and so quickly to take that final round.
Yeah, congratulations to Boise State for being able to win the round, continuing on in the playoffs of the ECAC. Wow, we love the acronyms tonight. But although we have finished this match, make sure to stay tuned as we're not done yet. We do still have Power Esports Conference Super Smash Bros. Coming up. So congratulations to Boise State. Well fought to Williams and Mary, as we'll take a short break and be ready with some Smash Bros. Later tonight.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Once there was a traveler whose feet never left the ground. With only his mind as his map and his senses his compass, he raced into the great unknown. Armed only with the speed of legend. His trails he blazed, his rivals he played. Every sprint a blur. Every turn trusting his allies. In silence he raged and waged with quickening, sickening speed. His name a chant filling arenas. Because some heroes leave footprints, others an afterburn. Without conflict, there is no resolution. Without verses, there is no victory.